You did it. You got an offer. You decided, I need a new job. You applied, you interviewed, you got an offer, you accepted an offer, and now, well, it's time for you to give your boss your notice. In today's video, I'm going to give you the 5 most common ways your boss might react to you giving your notice, and stick around for number 5, because number 5 is probably the one that is most challenging to deal with, and I'm going to give you some solid advice on what you can do in that situation. Let's go. Now, the first thing that is likely going to happen is your boss is going to ask you to stay longer than your notice. You're going to say, look, I can give you a 2-week notice. And your boss is going to say, oh man, we've got some projects. They are so critical to the organization and to our team right now. Can you do me a favor? Is there any way you can stay 4 to 6 weeks? Now, in my opinion, here's what I'd recommend doing. Saying no. And here's why. You know, at the end of the day, you've made the decision to move on from your career or from your current employer in favor of finding a new employer. And they are already starting to plan for your arrival. And if you've told them, yes, in 2 weeks I can start, you probably want to adhere to that. Now, it's a whole nother thing if you've gone through the interview process and early on you say, hey, it might be 4 to 6 weeks from an offer where I can actually start. I'm wrapping up some things, like if you're an architect or something. And they're okay with that. But if they are under the impression that you're going to give 2 weeks and in 2 weeks you can come join them, the last thing you want to do is be like, well, actually, I need to take 4 or 6 weeks. They're going to get nervous about that. And why are you doing it? You're doing for your current/old employer when you need to be focused on your new employer. So in that situation, I would tell them, look, I totally understand that. I can give you the 2 weeks, but I have plans for the new organization I'm joining, and we've already selected a start date, so I'm going to have to do that. Now, number two is really funny, and this has actually happened to me. They refuse to let you work out your notice, right? You say, hey, I'm gonna have to give you 2 weeks notice, I'm resigning. And they go, keep your 2 weeks notice, you can get out now. Most of the time it's because you're going to a competitor, or maybe you have access to intellectual property, and rather than have you stay for 2 weeks, they'd rather you leave immediately. If that's the case, don't call up your employer and say, hey, I can start immediately. Take that 2 weeks. Take that 2 week sabbatical. If you have vacation, you're gonna get paid out your vacation, but just take that time. It is likely this happens. There's no use arguing with them. If they tell you, we'd like you to leave, you are going to leave. That is the second way they might react. The third thing they might do is they might accept your resignation and go, yes, Ben, I get it, 2 week notice, fine, but I'm not happy about it. And they'll actually let you know that they're not pleased and they wish you would have done something sooner. And if this is the case, there's really not much you can do here, right? You've made your decision, you've got to move forward, you are resolute. I would be gracious in these things. And I'd let them know, hey, I totally understand that, and I really do appreciate everything you've done for me. And I'm gonna, I've made the decision that this is an opportunity I feel like I have to pursue. Even if you don't feel those things, like I feel like it always benefits you to be gracious in the moment. So be polite, take the high road on your way out. Even if they don't understand, say, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way. I do appreciate the opportunity I've been given here, but I've made the decision that this is the direction I want to take my career. And they're just gonna have to deal. Now, this next one is probably best case scenario. They're accepting and supportive. So they say to you, man, well, I hate losing you. I do think what you've told me, I think this is probably a good opportunity for you. And you have my blessing. We'll have the 2 weeks here. We'd like to work on a transition plan so we can take care of your work. But I totally get it, and I understand why you've got to make the move you are making. If this happens, that's great. This is probably someone who you can have be a reference later. So do a good job, spend that next 2 weeks doing everything you can to position them for success, and then move forward to your next role knowing that you didn't burn any bridges on the way out. They were supportive ultimately, and it's probably a place you could come back to in the future if the situation dictates that makes sense for you. Now, the final thing they might do is you come to them and go, hey, I gotta give my 2 weeks notice, and they go, whoa, what? No, what's going on? Did they offer you a promotion? Did they offer you more money? We can do that for you. And here's what I would say about that. Whenever you have a company giving you a counteroffer, at that point, the problem they're trying to solve isn't your problem, it's theirs. They know that you're going to be gone. That productivity that you put forth every day, they're now going to be missing that. That is a gap in whatever it is you do. So resolving that situation isn't really about you. They could have been doing things to retain your services all along. This is about them. Now, I have a video that's a deep dive into it, and I suggest you go watch that. If you want to know everything about counteroffers, why they happen, the probability of success, how long most people say when they accept an offer, and just kind of my general thoughts, like put out in detail, you want to go watch that video, because that video, that is like the full coverage of counteroffers. Do it.